All right, ready. I have not made a video on beard maintenance or my updates on beard growth in a minute, so I thought I would make one here real quick before I start my day. Um, what I've done differently, if you've watched any of my beard videos, I usually talk about the cold hard truths about growing a beard and how most advice videos on YouTube aren't worth shit because they are usually trimming the beard too soon. It's more of a manicured short beard, but if you're going after like a long beard and more of a natural look, that's kind of where my advice kind of leads. This time around, I've actually been doing something a little different. I typically get kind of fed up with zipping my beard up in like a jacket, or I'll be at the gym and I'll be benching and the bar will come down on my beard, and at that point I'm like, I need to trim it back. So I've been kind of fighting that urge. This is probably matches about as long as my beard's ever been. But what I've been doing over the last year or so is I've been trying to get the sides to come down and be the same length as the front. I feel like that makes your beard look much more full. I think one of the common mistakes people make when growing a beard is they constantly trim up the sides, and it just makes your, face look really long and narrow. Now, if you have a big fat face, that might work for you. And I mean, I don't have a thin face, but I like the look when you're looking at a beard from the front. It just looks like it has some nice volume to it. Now, I just got out of the shower, so this is as straight as my beard will ever be. As it dries out, it goes and it starts to curl up on itself. And I did make a video a long time ago on straighten your beard, and that lasted all of like 2 days. It was just too much work, and I felt like it was just drying my beard out. So I feel like my beard, the level of hydration to when it's healthiest is during the day. At any point, if I touch it, it doesn't have that just that real dry, like my beard is wiry, as most beards are, I think. I mean, there are a few outliers out there that have beard hair that's like head hair, and I envy those guys because it just looks like a head of hair growing from your face. My beard is just like this, and like underneath it's really tight curls. And what that does, I mean, there is a benefit to that, and it does help prop your beard up. Another thing, if you haven't watched my beards before, I don't like do an outline. I just kind of talk. And for some people that might be annoying as shit because I do repeat myself, and I just think of things as I go. But I'm not making any money off of these videos, and I don't want to make any money, so I put as little production value into them as I can, because it's all for you all. It's not for me. If I have some advice, I like to put it out there. But like I said, I'm not making any money off this stuff. So this idea kind of came into my head this morning. I was getting out of the shower. I'm like, you know what? I need to make another beard video. I haven't done one in probably 6 months or even longer. So, and I feel like I have a good bit of knowledge on the topic. I've been growing. I've had a beard on my face for like 15 years, and I've tried many different styles, and I feel like I figured it out now. At least for me. It might not work for everybody, but it does for me. So anyway, back to my point. A lot of people will trim the neckline. That is a big no-no, because all of that hair, I like to call it the foundation of the beard, that all that hair under there will just curl up on itself. And what it does is it holds your beard up. If you don't have that hair on the neck, the beard's going to lay in a natural way. So like from the side, let's see if I can do it. My beard kind of just naturally comes out away from my face. The reason for that is all that hair that's grown up underneath on my neck. Now, my neckline naturally stops about the Adam's apple, so I don't really have any dense hair below the Adam's apple. I mean, I have some where the chest hair kind of comes up, but that doesn't count. So always allow that neck area to grow in. And another thing, on the side, you can see, do not trim this here back behind here. Do not cut in some artificial straight line behind your ear. It just doesn't look natural, and that's just my opinion. Some people like that manicured look. I love the way a beard looks after you've let it go for like 6 months to a year, and it's finally taken on its what shape it wants to be. And you're not going to know that shape until probably close to 6 months or even longer, because it's got to fall. It's once it starts to get longer, it starts to fall into its shape, and it's really hard to explain unless you've actually been there. After just a few months, your hair is going to be growing in different directions. It's going to feel like a mess. You're going to feel like a homeless dude. But as it gets longer, it starts to find its path. Trust me. But again, back to the very original point of making this video is I have been trying to get the sides to catch up with the front. So every few months, I will just take the split ends and just the errant ones off the front, but leave the sides so that as it all grows, I want it eventually to all be the same length, so that when I do my ultimate goal, I've been saying this, I wish I had a nickel for every time I said this, but I want my beard to get to the length where I can literally just like put it in like a band and not think about it. But for that to happen, all this has to grow so much longer to match up with the hair that's only growing this length. So another common mistake people make is they're always trimming the sides. Now, if you're only going for a short beard, that might work for you. But if you're going for the biggest beard you can grow, there is a point when you're going to have to cut in a shape to give the beard its own distinctive look. If you don't cut in a shape, the front's always going to be longer. And in my opinion, it makes the beard look less dense. So I would say a good 4 months of just not looking in the mirror and letting it grow, and then after that 4-month period, even 5 months, that's when you cut that initial shape in. I like to kind of block mine off. So if I were to brush my beard completely out, I have it blocked off. It doesn't come down a taper, but what happens is when you block it off and then you brush it out, it has a tendency to kind of round itself out. So you don't need to cut in that you don't have to round it while you cut it. If you just have it all growing the same length and just block it off the bottom, it will naturally round out like this. Like all I do is get up and I just brush it. First thing I do is I shower. I do a passive wash. So the only time I ever put any soap actually or any type of cleaning product in my beard is if I've been working outside. Like here where I live in the country, and back in the winter we had a really bad freak snowstorm. It was warm the day before, and then that morning it started snowing and the temperature dropped really fast, and everything was warm, so the trees filled up with snow. The snow couldn't just fall off of it because it was so cold. It all stuck to the trees, bent them all over, and I've been every weekend since January 5th, I've probably cut down 20 some trees. That's every weekend on my property, and I just cut another 10 yesterday, and that's just along the perimeter of my property. That's the ones bent into my property. That's not the ones in the woods. So it'll be years before I get everything cleaned up. But again, I digress. If I'm outside cutting down trees and I get sawdust and stuff in my beard, I will wash it all out and start all over. And every morning when I get up, this is my go-to. This is called Everyman Jack Beard Butter. Super cheap. It's like $12 at the old Walmart. I've tried everything, all the high-end stuff. I've made my own beard oil. My big issue with beard oil is it's really only good for a short beard, and it stains your clothes. This stuff will not stain your clothes. And you can even use it as moisturizer. So I'll typically put it in my beard, and then as I'm rubbing it in, I'll just kind of rub it up onto my face and stuff, and it's a good moisturizer, and it will not stain your clothes. For the longest time, I kept using beard oil, and then my sweatshirts, I'd have this like V-shaped oil stain where my beard was just constantly touching it. So beard oil in it, and beard oil evaporates too. So I don't really see the benefits of beard oil anymore. I guess in the beginning when I didn't know any better, I used it, but this is good for any length of beard, and it's the cheapest. This is sandalwood, just smells great. The consistency's much like I mean, they call it beard butter, so it's like room temperature butter, if you want to talk about the consistency. Goes in easy, stays in all day. You do have to really work it into the beard. So if you want your beard to be damp, work it in. And you know if you got enough in, if it's still, your beard still feels hydrated throughout the day. You do have to use quite a bit of it. I use probably 2 fingers, so enough to like a pile on 2 fingers, and then I just work it all the way through. And it stays nice and hydrated all day. And I've noticed that I don't get the split ends anymore. My beard hangs more natural. It looks thicker because it's not going in every different direction. Another couple things I've been doing recently, and this is another one of my tips, is do not trim the mustache very often. It does have a terminal length that's fairly short for most people. Some people have the weird genetics and they can grow this long mustache. Not me. My mustache is pretty dense, but this has been growing without trimming it for about 1.5 years, and it's probably about that long. Now the edges start to grow longer because you're getting into the beard, but the mustache itself, it grows super slow once it gets too close to its terminal length. And I'm just not, I have no plans of touching it. What I do is I will take the ends, twist them up, and cut the ends off on just the ends. You know how some guys will grow their mustache on the ends, and they'll grow it and it'll actually kind of disconnect from the beard, get longer. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the beard to just look like one uniform thing, so I will trim those back. And one benefit of having a big mustache is if you do have any weak areas, like through here, you grow the mustache out, it will kind of camouflage those. And you can actually, you know, if your beard doesn't connect, like some people, it's the beard, the line is higher, and then you'll have this gap right here that you can help to fill that gap in by having a bigger mustache. Another big tip that I always give in my videos is don't ever trim this area right here, ever. For most people. Now there are the outliers that this grows same length, but a beard typically grows the longest along the jawline. And the closer from the chin to the lower lip, that hair right there grows the slowest, if at all. A lot of people have a very weak area. I wish I could show you pictures of me 15, 20 years ago. All I could grow was a little goatee with a little line right here. Nothing grew on the sides. The sides were patchy. Never really tried to grow a beard. I always just had a mustache or a goatee, and then one day out of the blue, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna grow a beard. So I just let it go, and it looked like shit for a few years, but ultimately, the longer I let it grow, the more it filled in. So another tip is just let this area always grow. If you're going to trim your beard, just trim where it grows the fastest and the most densest, like down here, but leave this area up here. Don't trim that back, because most people see your beard front on, and the first thing they look at is this area right here. And if it's the densest here, you can have weak sides. People won't ever really notice. It's the front on that you want to have your most growth. Now for cheek lines, I have messed around with those for years, and actually right now I'm growing mine in higher again. You can see I have a line here. I had it kind of coming down at an angle and stopping kind of at the crease of my mouth, which most people do. But again, here's another strategy for growing a beard. This is probably one of the best points that I can drive home with you. If you fuck your beard up, like if you fuck the lines up here on your cheeks, don't just shave your beard off. Don't just give up on it. Cut in a new line, maybe trim all of the side. Like I majorly screwed up the sides of my beard once, and I'm sitting here going, what do I do? Because I had it was pretty long. And what I got the idea is, you know what? I'm going to trim the sides back to stubble and and just cut in a big goatee. So I cut in a big goatee back here. And then after like 2 months, the sides grew back in. I cut in my line where I actually wanted it. And within a few months, it was almost like I'd never done it. But in previous years, I would just cut the whole beard off and then I would have to start over at square one. So it's another huge point. Don't just give up on your beard because you screwed up the cheek lines. I like to mess around with my cheek lines all the time because I feel like that's something that you can change. It doesn't really affect the overall look of the beard. Like sometimes I'll trim them, like you can see the old line down and make it look more like a taper. And sometimes I'll start at the sideburn and then I'll come across to make it look more blocked across the cheeks. And then other times I'll let it all grow in completely natural and I'll look like the Wolfman, all this is grown in. I don't usually leave that for more than a few weeks because it starts to get curly. And another key point, when growing your beard out for length, I think psychologically some part of your beard has to be clean so that you don't just look homeless. Now, if you want the homeless look and you don't mind a completely natural beard and everything, that's great. But most people, for their job or whatever, they want to have some part of the beard that looks straightened up or cleaned up, manicured. I typically go with the cheek line. It can get long and kind of shaggy here, and the mustache can be kind of shaggy, but if I have a clean line, another thing I do is I always trim the sideburns down pretty short so that they're not sticking out. I like to stop my sideburns at like this, whatever this part of your ear here. I like to do that because obviously I shave my head, and I feel like if I have them up here, it almost looks like I'm wearing a fake beard. So I shave my head down. I have this Remington head shaver. It's awesome. It's like almost U-shaped, and you can't cut your head with it, and you can do it in like 2 minutes. I do it every morning, but it doesn't take it down to the skin. I don't actually like the skin. When I put a hat on or whatever, when it's cut down all the way to the skin, it kind of it's tacky. But what I do is I will fade from my sideburn. I'll fade it up to skin because I don't like to have like a line there. I know I'm OCD, but yeah. So that's why I stop it here, and I usually will fade it in just so that the beard doesn't go boom. It's just this big beard and then skin. So it does. I do like to have a little taper. But yeah, kind of rambling. That's my way and kind of what I do. Just to kind of review again, if you're looking for a good beard butter, this is really all you need. I don't really buy into the beard specific washes and conditioners and their stuff. When I do have to wash it, I just use my body soap, but I don't really scrub it. I just want to get the big chunks from working outside out of it, and that's rare. It's usually only on the weekends and through the week. I just kind of let the water rinse through my beard, get out while it's still damp. I put a lot of this in it in the mornings or anytime I shower. I always make sure I use this. As for the beard, some just tips I can give you: let the mustache grow. That is one of the biggest things people see is this area right here. Don't ever trim this area. If you have to trim anything, trim the bottom. Right now I'm trying to get the sides in to be the exact length of the front so that as it grows down, it's all the same length and I don't have the hairs popping out the sides. As for cheek lines, it's kind of like up to you. But if you do screw them up, it's not the end of the world. You can always just trim the sides back short, go with a big goatee for like a week or two, and then you'll be back in business. But again, don't trim this back area back here, artificial lines. I don't trim any part of my neck. The only thing I ever touch are cheek lines. I'll chop back the sideburns a little bit, but anything down here, as for the actual girth of it, I don't trim it back because it gives that beard the foundation that it needs. But yeah, I guess that's about feel like I'm beating a dead horse now. I can't think of anything else I can throw in here that I haven't thrown in previous videos, but you know, those videos get lost. People can't find them. So this is more like an update on mine and just a few tips there. If you ever have any questions, you can throw them in to the comment section. If you have any other ideas for videos, I did get a couple new knives in that I need to do a little review on. And I've done a couple repairs on some vehicles that I'd like to do an update on too. But anyway, thanks for watching. Later.